I'm convinced we died 3 years ago. My best friend and I are currently spiraling because an event we survived together has somehow been rewritten. For reference, we don't drink or do drugs. We are 22 now, but when we were 19, we went on a trip to a rural coastal area in Greece. We've discussed this specific day a million times over the last 3 years, and our memories of it are identical down to the smallest detail, yet now everything seems to insist it happened differently. We were staying at a hotel in the middle of nowhere and decided to hike 2 hours along the coast to a restaurant on a remote cape. My friend was all dressed up in platform heels, a long pink skirt and a white top, remember this. As we walked into the restaurant, we noticed a group of men all turned their heads toward us. This happened to us on a daily basis since we are conventionally attractive, so we didn't really bat an eye. However, throughout the whole lunch, they kept looking at us and talking to each other, and we couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. There were only 2 other couples there, so it felt very pointed. As we left the restaurant, those men got up and followed us out immediately. In front of the restaurant, there were rocks leading into the sea and a few cars parked outside. We decided to take some photos on the rocks, but we saw the men starting to take photos of us. They were also constantly on their phones, talking to someone while pointing their cameras at us. It was an open area and there wasn't another soul around, so it was obvious. We got really weirded out, but we didn't have anyone to ask for help, and we came on the trip alone and didn't want to call and worry our parents, so we decided we should head back to the hotel. For context, I had been vlogging our whole trip so far and was filming everything, including this entire incident. As we started walking back toward our hotel, we were walking on the rocks that ran parallel to a rural quiet road. Noticed that the men got in their car and were slowly driving behind us. After about 7 minutes, the rocks finished and the coastline hit a wall where the water met the land. The road we had been following went into a very thick, bushy area. These men were still creeping after us in their car the whole time. We knew if we went down that road into the bushes, they would probably try to kidnap us. To avoid the road, we decided to walk through the water to get to the next headland. The tide was quite high over our knees, and I remember filming the whole thing, us walking through the water with my friend in her platform heels and long skirt getting soaked. We kept looking back at the men who had stopped the car opposite where we entered the water. They actually got out of the car and were just standing there watching us walk through the sea. We eventually made it to the other side and sat on a bench, watching them watch us until they finally drove off. The reason we are freaking out is that I recently went to find the footage for a birthday post for my friend. I wanted to make an edit of our iconic moments, and I saw that the footage has completely changed. In the footage of us taking photos by the sea, where it was definitely just us and those men, there are suddenly random women in bikinis right next to us who were never there. Most importantly, the footage of us in the water is now somehow time-stamped on a completely different day, and we are wearing different clothes. Which means going to that restaurant and walking through the water has happened on different days. To add to that, the men in their car are nowhere to be seen. I watched the 20 minutes of us in the water, and I never once mentioned the car or pan the camera toward them. It just looks like we're randomly walking through deep water for no reason. We both are 100% sure we filmed those men while we were walking through the water. We talked about them in the video and afterwards for the vlog. Even weirder, I called a close friend who wasn't on the trip, but who we have told this story to countless times, and he told me he's never heard it in his life. He was genuinely surprised why we wouldn't have mentioned something so crazy. My friend and I both have the exact same memory of us was walking through water, and because those men from the restaurant were after us. She thinks we experienced quantum immortality, that maybe in the original timeline, something bad happened, and our consciousness jumped to this version of reality. I wish this was a telephone glitch, but the fact that we are wearing different clothes in those 2 videos just signify that it is not. I've reset my phone numerous times and it doesn't go back. Also, I watched the videos numerous times in the last 2 years, and they were always the same as we remembered. It's like our memories exist in a world that doesn't match the physical facts anymore. Has anyone else ever experienced a shift like this? I'm wondering what else might not line up in this reality. That makes me think that we died together at some point, perhaps then, perhaps a bit later.